Howdy gaming people, Damon Master here, with part 2 of unboxing my collection. Sorry for the gap between these videos. I've been really sick with the flu lately and it's probably still hanging in my voice a little bit. But today I wanted to take a look at the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Limited Edition Collector's Set, more commonly referred to as the Gold Box. And of course, like my first episode, there's a story behind this one. This came out... I'm guessing 1990. I thought it was about 88, 89, but it might have been 1990, just judging by the copyright on the front of the box there. And it was a birthday present, I'm fairly certain. And I remember Mum and Dad buying me this. So this is the Australian, this was sold in Australia, although I'm pretty sure they're the same around the world, and this is the PC version, of course. I know they were also available for the Amiga 500 and other platforms, I think. But yeah, so this was mine, and I've had this since I was a young man, and I remember getting a hold of this and being very excited, and sort of starting with the first cab off the rank and trying to install Pool of Radiance, and running an XT at the machine at the time with no hard drive. I only had two 5¼ inch floppy drives, but certain games back in the day still needed to be installed regardless, and so I had to install Pool of Radiance from floppy to floppy, and something just didn't work in the process, whether it was my computer at the time or the installation process, but I could just never get the game to run. And I remember staying up late, for me at the time it was probably like 11 o'clock or something, trying to get Pool of Radiance to install and just not getting it to work, getting frustrated, and then trying Curse of the Azure Bonds the very next day and having it work flawlessly and being wrapped. So of this set though, I probably would say Hillsfar was my favourite, but let's jump into the box and see what's inside. Wow, I've even got it upside down, and this hasn't weathered well. It's moved with me from house to house to house to house to house since I was, whatever it is, 12, 13 years of age. I'm pretty sure it came from a Kmart store. I remember Kmart, because Kmart back in sort of the late 80s, early 90s, in Australia at least, used to sell not only a lot of software, but also a bit of hardware. I remember them selling Sound Blaster cards, imitation ones, and things like that. But yeah, so it probably came from there. And I know a lot of my friends at the time also got these, so it was pretty exciting. But let's open the box. Alright, so there's quite a bit in there, and if you can see that, this is my certificate of authenticity, 1698 of 3000, yeah, copyright 1990. We've got paperwork there for Hillsfar, so that's the overworld map, and the city map. Such a unique game, really haven't seen anything quite like it since. It was so much fun. My well-worn, well-loved manual, very chunky because it had to encompass all of the games. Yeah, falling apart. Discs 4, and you can see how the glue, after all this time, because I haven't stored it particularly well, has started to come off some of the labels. So there's my Hillsfar code wheels. Oh yeah, copy protection at its finest. So that's, what's that one for? That's Hillsfar. Pool of Radiance. Curse of the Azure Bonds. War of the Lance. I never played this one a great deal. This was sort of a strategy, sort of civilization-y war game. I never really got into it at the time. I was probably too young. Well, that's supposed to be around my scroll. Heroes of the Lance was an action title, sort of like a platform adventurer. It didn't play very well on my computer at the time, and that's why it didn't get a lot of love. Yeah, I mean, I still had CJ and everything else as well. I had no hard drive. I was running PC Speaker when I got this. And the game was just slow. I'm pretty sure at the time I had at least a Master System, probably a Mega Drive, or Genesis, depending on where you were in the world. And so things like Sonic the Hedgehog was so much faster. And so it was difficult for me to get into Heroes of the Lance. The iconic Pool of Radiance, as I said, this is the one I just couldn't get to work at the time. I've gone back and looked at it since, and look at that, labels coming off, and my own little, anyone remember those copy protection tabs? Before you could just flick the switch on the 3.5 inch, you actually had to put your own copy protection tabs on. So I've protected my discs like a good boy. Dragons of Flame, I don't remember a great deal about that one. Doesn't ring much of a bell. And then Cursed Azure Bonds was probably my second favourite out of the box. And this is the one that I did manage to get working, and it worked quite well and I enjoyed it. And that's more traditional RPG. Yeah, copyright 1989. The trading cards, these originally came in a sheet, I believe. And then I've since, for whatever reason, turn them into, cut them and put them into there. Looks like it's all artwork from Dragonlance there. Yep. Dragons of the Flame quest map. And the Dalelands area of the Forgotten Realms. And last, we have black and white map of Ansalon. I think that was to do with the war game, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll turn my bottom half around the right way now. So yeah, this was, as I said, this was a birthday present. It's nearly, what is that now? 30 years old. I know these are a collector's item for a lot of people. Probably not ones in this condition though. This is pretty ordinary condition, but it's because it was never bought as a collector's piece. This was bought for a young boy who loved Dungeons and Dragons, and so it was sort of treated, well, with respect, but just not as probably as lovingly as if it was a collector's piece. So yeah, that's Advanced Dungeons and Dragons limited edition collector set, aka the Gold Box. Thank you very much for watching.